Relational capital, how being home reveals the CEO within the corner office is empty, not because of a recession, not because of layoffs, but because the women who once filled those chairs realized something the market hasn't priced in yet. Proximity is the new scarcity. While corporations scramble to mandate return-to-office policies, a quieter migration is happening. The most strategic minds are withdrawing not from ambition, but from inefficiency. They're realizing that the commute, the performance of presence, the fluorescent-lit conference rooms, these aren't markers of success. They're overhead, and overhead is what you eliminate when you're building something that lasts. By the end of this video, you'll understand why being home isn't a retreat from the economy. It's a reallocation of your most finite resource, relational capital. And once you see it, you'll never apologize for your location again. Let's start with the diagnosis. You were told that ambition requires visibility, that influence demands a seat at the table, that leadership means being seen. But economic data suggests something different. The highest performing knowledge workers, the ones generating disproportionate value, are not optimizing for proximity to their boss. They're optimizing for proximity to their priorities. The traditional corporate model operates on a 19th century assumption that value is created through supervised labor in centralized locations. But you don't make widgets. You make decisions. You synthesize information. You build relationships. You create intellectual property. None of that requires a badge swipe. What it does require is deep work, uninterrupted cognition, the ability to move between strategic thinking and relational presence without a 40-minute commute obliterating your capacity for both. The reason you feel exhausted isn't because you're juggling too much. It's because you've been operating inside a system designed for extraction, not equity. A system that treats your time as renewable and your attention as infinitely divisible. It's not. And the women who are building the next economy, the ones who will look back on this decade as the inflection point, are the ones who stopped apologizing for recognizing that. Here's what they're not telling you in the LinkedIn posts and the productivity podcasts. The home is not a fallback position. It's a strategic headquarters. Let me explain what I mean by that. In private equity, there's a concept called unfair advantage. It's the structural condition that allows one firm to outperform another, not through harder work, but through better architecture, a proprietary network, a lower cost of capital, and information asymmetry that competitors can't replicate. Being home gives you 3 unfair advantages that no corporate environment can match. Every interaction in your life is either a deposit or a withdrawal from relational capital. The time you spend with your children, the conversation you have with your partner, the moment you catch your daughter's eye across the room and communicate an entire value system without words. These aren't interruptions to your work. They are the compounding returns on the only investment that appreciates across generations. When you're home, you eliminate the single largest cost in most professionals' lives, the time and cognitive load required to separate work from meaning. You're not context switching between career and family. You're integrating them into a single operating system where both reinforce the other. Sociological research on long-term well-being consistently shows that the quality of our close relationships is the strongest predictor of life satisfaction. Not income, not status, not titles, relational equity. And you're building it in real time, with zero commute tax. The corporate office is designed for collaboration, which is a polite way of saying it's designed for interruption. Open floor plans, Slack notifications, meetings that could have been memos. The entire infrastructure is optimized for the appearance of productivity, not the reality of it. When you're home, you control the variables. You decide when deep work happens. You decide when you're available for real-time collaboration versus asynchronous communication. You decide whether the first hour of your day is spent in a staff meeting or in silence with a journal, architecting the next quarter of your life. This isn't about convenience, it's about competitive advantage. The most valuable cognitive work, the kind that builds intellectual property, that generates insights, that compounds over time, requires what researchers call flow state, uninterrupted, high-focus periods where your brain can hold complex problems long enough to solve them. You can't buy flow state. You can't schedule it in 30-minute increments between Zoom calls, but you can create the conditions for it. And those conditions require one thing, above all, sovereignty over your environment. The home gives you that. The office never will. Here's the paradox of modern work. The more distributed teams become, the more valuable trust becomes as a currency. But trust isn't built in conference rooms. It's built in consistency. In showing up, in doing what you said you would do, again and again, until your word becomes your brand. When you work from home, your work has to speak for itself. There's no performance of busyness, no staying late to signal commitment, no hallway conversations that make you visible to leadership. You're judged purely on output, on impact, on whether you moved the objective forward. And for women who have spent years watching less competent colleagues get promoted because they were better at managing up than delivering results, that's not a disadvantage, that's a filter. The home-based operator builds trust through results, not proximity. And in a world where AI is eliminating the appearance of competence, the operators who actually deliver will be the only ones left standing. Now let's talk about the mechanism that makes this work. The world calls it work-life balance. We call it the integrated operating system, because balance implies a zero-sum trade-off, that every hour spent with your children is an hour stolen from your career. That presence at home means absence from ambition. That's the old model. The integrated operating system is different. It starts with a single recognition. The skills that make you an exceptional parent are the same skills that make you an exceptional executive. Patience, pattern recognition, the ability to hold long-term vision while managing short-term chaos, the capacity to listen for what's not being said, to read a room, to de-escalate conflict without diminishing anyone's dignity. These are not soft skills. They are the scarcest skills in the modern economy. AI can write your emails. It can analyze your data. It can optimize your ad spend, but it cannot read the subtext in a client's hesitation. It cannot sense when a team member is struggling beneath a polished exterior. It cannot build the kind of loyalty that turns customers into evangelists and employees into partners. Those capabilities, they're relational. They're intuitive, they're human, and you develop them at home. Every time you negotiate with a toddler who refuses to wear shoes, you're practicing the art of non-coercive influence. Every time you help a child process disappointment, you're building the emotional intelligence that Fortune 500 companies spend millions trying to train into their leadership. The home isn't where your skills atrophy, it's where they compound. So let's talk about infrastructure. You wouldn't run a Fortune 500 company from a chaotic desk. You wouldn't lead a board meeting from a space that signals distraction. The domestic headquarters requires the same respect, not because you need permission to work from home, but because your environment shapes your cognition. And if you're building something designed to outlast you, the space you operate from matters. I'm going to introduce you to one tool. Not because it's expensive, not because it's trendy, but because it rewires how your brain interprets the transition from home to headquarters. It's called the Analog Database, a high-end journal, leather-bound or linen-covered, heavy enough that when you open it, your nervous system registers. The operator is online. Here's why this matters. Your brain is associative. It learns through pattern recognition. When you open your laptop in the same space where you fold laundry and answer emails and scroll Instagram, your brain doesn't know which mode you're in. It's in all of them simultaneously, which means you're never fully present in any of them. The Analog Database creates a ritual boundary. When you open it, you're not journaling, you're strategizing, you're documenting decisions. You're building institutional memory for an organization of one. You're treating your own thinking as intellectual property worth preserving. And that's the shift from I'm just figuring things out to I am building a system that will outlast my memory of this moment. That's the difference between activity and architecture. Let's bring this home. The women who are winning in this economy aren't the ones working harder. They're the ones working from a different premise. They've stopped asking, how do I fit my life around my career? They're asking, how do I design a career that doesn't require me to abandon the people I'm building it for? And that question changes everything. But because once you see your life as the asset, the obstacle, you stop optimizing for visibility and start optimizing for sovereignty. You stop measuring success by titles and start measuring it by whether you were present for the moments that will define your children's memory of childhood. You stop treating relational equity as something you'll invest in once things slow down, and you start recognizing it as the foundation of everything else you're building. This is not about doing less. It's about doing what compounds. The corner office was never the destination. It was a detour, and the smartest operators in the room have already left. Disclaimer: this content is for educational and informational purposes only and does not replace consultation with a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance or business. Tell us where you are building your empire from. See you in the next video.